Hello, everybody. Kimberly Mascapape here, founder of Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. And this is really an interesting conversation because sometimes I think we forget exactly how powerful we are as human beings. And in that forgetfulness of who we are and where we came from, we allow our human to get into the way and we allow our 3D circumstances in front of us to prohibit us from doing the things we want to do. And to argue for our limitations because of that is the saddest thing on the planet. It's horrible to watch because we are such incredible, powerful beings. We have to remember that everything we do is divine activity. We are the thoughts of God in action, right? The information is flowing through us, that source flowing through us. We are so powerful, and yet we forget all the time. We forget. And when we forget, we begin to argue for our limitations. And it's so painful and frustrating for me to watch. It's actually quite kind of funny because people will consistently try to argue for their limitations, saying, I can't do this, I don't have this, I have to do this. And I'm watching them and I'm like, what are you doing? You're forgetting your power. You're completely forgetting your connection to source. Because when we remember that we are divine beings doing divine action in every moment, in every breath, then we don't have to argue for our limitations because we know anything is possible. Everything is possible. And I know in these unusual times right now, things seem less possible, don't they? That seems like we're getting limitations are being put upon us, which are holding us back and keeping us in check in all of this stuff. And it's not necessary because we have to remember that we create our reality. We get to create our reality. But what happens as humans is that we start looking around, we see the 3D, and we get so caught in the 3D, we forget that we create our reality. So you have to tap into your connection with source. You have to remember that you are a divine being, that source is flowing through you, that every action you do is a divine action. And when you can remember that and harness that, then anything is possible. I mean, absolutely anything is possible. Anything so let's still go this. I say you argue for your limitations when you say you can't do things. Well, when it comes to your spiritual business, the limitations I'm hearing all the time are I don't have any money to start, or I don't have enough talent, or I don't know if I'm worthy, or who are going to be my clients? How am I going to find the clients? Who's going to want to work with me? All of those are limitations. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you create limitations and then hold on to them? We like to argue for our limitations. I can't do that. The money thing is the biggest thing, right? I've done it myself. We've all argued for our limitations when it comes to money. I don't have it. I can't create it. It's so hard to get money. We do it all the time. Why would you argue for your limitation when you are a piece of source and source is flowing through you? Please don't forget how powerful you are. In that forgetfulness, this arguing for limitations comes up, and then it creates the reality that we don't desire. Then we're in a reality where we're unhappy. We're in a reality where we're complaining. We've created a reality where life is miserable, or we don't have jobs, or we don't have income. Why? Because you've lost your connection with source and you get so caught up in the 3D that you're going to hang on to it. And the more you hang on to it, that's what I call arguing for your limitations. And it's unnecessary, completely unnecessary to do that. You are powerful. Please remember how powerful you are, that you are fully connected with source. And when you allow that, you have no limitations. We have the 3D limitations of what we think time. There's another one. Time and money seem to be the two limitations that I hear people argue for the most. I don't have enough time. There's not enough time to do this, or I don't have enough money. Those are the two most common ones. Ask yourself, how many times in the past 3 days have you made a comment regarding a limitation around time or a limitation around money? And how many? I'd love to see it if you guys want to put it in the comments. How many times have you argued for your limitation around time and around money? Those are the two biggest like 3D things, right? That hold us here where we're like, I don't know. I don't have it. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. And then we argue for it. I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it. And the more you argue for it, you're right, the more you won't. So how do we flip this? How do we shift what this looks like? This really comes back to you removing your patterns, right? We got to replace your poverty patterns with prosperity patterns. When you have a pattern of prosperity, things flow. Money flows, time becomes easy. I do something that I call quantum timing that I talk to my clients about in boot camp. It's like when we quantum time, there's this focus and I can get so much done in that time. It's crazy. It's amazing, actually. So I remove the limitation that my human wants to look at. My human wants to look at a limitation of time, and I remove the limitation. And I focus and I'm like, I am going to allow this to happen, right? I'm going to create the reality where I can get this done. So we have to change our patterns. So how do we change our poverty patterns? Because that's really what it is. Frankly, I like to call poverty a mental disease because it is a mental disease, because it's something that runs in our heads. It's been conditioned. It's in every cell of our body. It's come from our ancestors. It's come from family. They think they're helping us. They're not. So we have these poverty patterns, this mental disease of poverty that we've created that holds us back. And then we argue for the limitation around it because we're like, I don't have money and it's so hard to get. And we argue for that limitation. And it's not necessary. Money is energy. That's it. Money is energy. The energy that came from a thought from source. So when we tie it together, it's the energy of source, the energy of money, source being a thought from God, right? Or a source of creating the thought for money. When you look at it and it's all energy, then we get, hold up. I'm energy and I get to create my reality, which means that essentially you are money. You are money. You are all connected. It's all energy. And when it's all energy and we're all connected and we get that, we can shift our prosperity patterns. We can shift them or get rid of our poverty patterns and shift them into prosperity patterns because we get that. And that's the place where you have to start. Because if you're constantly arguing for your limitation around money, you're going to continue to repel it. Same thing with time. You're going to continue to repel it. You have to shift that. So some of you guys are saying too many times to count, hundreds of times, and every day that you're arguing for your limitation around money or around time. So you have to shift it. So I'm going to give you a little tip. So when you have this moment of arguing for your limitation around money, we'll go with, because that seems to be the most common one, and the thing that someone's like, I really need this, and it is needed for the 3D. So when you're in that moment of arguing for your limitation around money, you just have to stop. You have to realize that money is energy and that you are open to that energy. You can say something like, money flows freely to me. I am open to freely receiving money. It's energy. And the only thing that stops the money flow is you. I hate to say that because we want to look somewhere else and say, but I lost my job, my people did this, and I got, no, it's us. Money doesn't have to be difficult to get. Money doesn't have to be a chore. We don't have to work hard for our money. The money comes when we are open to receiving it. So let's replace the poverty pattern of I don't have and all those limitations that we create for ourselves. And let's remove that and replace it with a prosperity pattern, that prosperity pattern of being money flows freely to me. Keep it simple, not a resistance. It just flows. Allow it to flow, because the universe is not broken in its delivery of abundance to you. It's the only reason why you're not receiving abundance is because you've put up the walls and you've got the vibration that's pushing it away. And if you're catching yourself resisting money, saying, I don't have, arguing for your limitation around money, or in any way, shape, or form talking bad about money, or talking, we have all these beliefs around money. If you are going through any of that, that is why you don't have any, because you're repelling it in every moment. So you have to be able to just open up, allow it to flow, connect with source. You and source are one. You are energy. Money is energy. Money came from a thought of source, and it's all connected, and it's all you, and you are money at the end of the day. Your vibration is what brings it in. And the only thing repelling it is you and the poverty patterns that you've, I don't say created. You may have created some, but so many of them have been handed down to us. So we've got to work on replacing those patterns, create a prosperity pattern so that you can allow abundance to flow to you. And then when you can allow that to happen and you open up to it, then the idea of, say, creating your spiritual business becomes easy, because you're like, but of course money's going to flow to me. And then that's when boot camp comes into play, because in spiritual biz boot camp, I show you exactly how to create your 6-figure business and take it to $500,000 in mastery. But until you allow money to come in, I can show you all the marketing in the world. That's not going to work. So we have to get rid of those poverty patterns, replace it with prosperity patterns. The first one today is, anytime you create a limitation around money, you have to just tap in and say, money flows freely to me. You do that every day. Focus on that in every moment. If you're walking the dog, driving to work, sitting at home, if you haven't been able to go anywhere, whatever it is, you need to make that your dominant thought, so that you can open up and get rid of the resistance to the abundance that is your birthright. Because we are not here to struggle, and we are not here to be in poverty. We are here to be the best version of ourselves, which includes being abundant, includes prosperity. All right, guys, I am Kimberly Maska, founder of Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. I will see you guys in the next video.